So now I think I'll paint water all over the bottom here. Let's paint it right across like that. That's a horizontal brush stroke. Now this will be dark here, so if you're painting in oils, don't put your white there, leave a bit for your dark. And then we can put it on if you wish. We'll scrape it off later. I've got a thinner paint here and it's going on really well, so make sure you do thin your paint so it flows off your brush. And we can have water right across the bottom of the board if we wish, or not. That'll do. With the littlest bit of phthalo blue, I'll start in the corner and brush some phthalo blue into the corner and bring it up into the white. Horizontal brush strokes again, and as you come up your brush will run out of paint. And that's okay, that's what we want, and keep it white in the distance. Let's have a lot of phthalo blue here in the corner. That's better. It's a very dark sky, so we can have a dark water here. I'm going to put a little bit of white over the top, give it a bit of a white streak through it. Now the reflections. These reflections here will come down about like that, and these ones come down here. There. I'll darken that in. Get your colours and put your colours in. Copy what's up here roughly, not exactly. You can copy it exactly if you want to, but I don't think it's necessary. Something like that. And then before the paint dries, with your big brush, as clean as you can get it, and pull it down in the water. Then clean it, down, clean, down. Don't worry about that, we'll fix it up later. And across, perfectly horizontal. And we do the same here. Put on bits of paint. This brush is a little bit messy, but it's okay. I'll get a bit of colour on before that dries. Oh, that's gone a bit yellow. Change it big. It's okay. Doesn't matter. Pull that down into the picture. Clean the brush and across. And again, we'll take it back up in here. We might have our water run back up into there, come down, and then of course it comes down here. Put the colours on again. Just roughly, with your clean brush into the water. So that's our water laid out. I think this one needs to come here, just to keep it in perspective. This one maybe here. That's not too bad. Maybe something there. Down, down, down. Ooh, clean my brush. So those reflections are not good enough. They're okay just for a quick painting, but if we want to do a good job, let's go back to the palette and mix some proper colours. The main colour is the warm yellow we'll be using. I'll add a bit of raw sienna into it to bring it away from the very bright colours, and then the Viridian green into it. And that gives us that brilliant green. Of course the white's moving up into there, that's okay. Then I'll put a little bit of grey in amongst that. Just run it through like that. Not green enough. A bit more green, and I know I can see it going to need more yellow. Clean my knife. More yellow. What do we got there? That's more like it. That's about the colour I want, like that. So let's mix a lot of that. And this time I'll do away with the rough brush. Let's use a delicate brush. This is a hog bristle brush and it's shaped to a chisel point. I'm picking up dark and light. And let's use these trees for an example. We can detail them to make them look a little bit more detailed just by taking our time a bit more. and then bring them down into the water. It's good if you can do your trees and your water at the same time like this. You will get perfect reflections if you really want to. Now I've cleaned my big house painting brush and it's dry, and it should give us a good result, just softly over the top like that. So you can see the difference, the rough reflections and the good ones. So you can work to different standards. You can work very quickly and turn your paintings out like that, or you can work slowly and have perfect reflections if you want to. Turned out yellow there, and that's just what we want again, softly. Now because I've got a little bit of a thing here, too much, up here we can put it to compensate. So I'll continue now and detail these reflections to a better quality. Like that. If I'm lucky I can use this brush. A mark like that, you can always fix it up, the white lines. And then we sculpture a bank in with the knife. There's all the colours on the knife there, but I picked up a little bit of white first, and that's our distant bank. Under your bright bank, always run a dark line. That knife has a little bit of dark right on the edge. I just touched it in the dark paint and put it there. Oh, that turned out burnt sienna there, that's okay. Then clean your knife well and touch it in the white paint and put a white line under the dark line. They must be horizontal. They must run parallel to the bottom of the board. That one's crooked, I'll fix him up. So that's okay for the reflections now. They look a lot better. Let's see how we go along here. Copy that one, and because it's green there and yellow, let's put a bit of green and yellow at the top here. Like that. Like that. Looks better. Up here. That should look better. And with a little brush, I can bring the perspective in with some white lines. Help to detail what's going on there. And there will be a white line there, one there, very softly. And with the lights on our bank again, sculpture them on with a knife. It's too white, I'll put some green over the top. Then a little bit of crimson. Then the dark line is slightly bigger because it's closer to us. And with a few lighter colours, we'll turn that dark line into what looks like a few rocks here and there. That was burnt sienna and white mainly. And then the white line. Because that bank comes round at a little bit of an angle, we mustn't bring our line round at an angle. We bring our line in there, and then in there, like that. And I'd like to see a white line back there somewhere to attract your eye around that corner. And then with a fan brush you can just touch up the bank here and there while the paint's still wet. And if you wish to put shadows in, you can put shadows in here and there too. And that's a typical little bank. So we need to do this right across the painting. Detail our reflections, make them look like what's above them. Light and dark. I have light and dark on my brush. I turn it that side for dark and this side for light. Pull them into the water. And so on. Add the branches. Not exactly, but put them in. So now I'll detail this. I'll put a little bit of pretty colour up there. Let's come in like that. You know, the bank goes along there, so it's not too much to happen there. And down here, comes down like that. That should look better. So it is worth taking a little bit of time to do your reflections over and over. You can do them wet on wet, or you can wait till the paint dries and work over the top. You can do reflections over reflections as many times as you wish. And you can fix mistakes, such as that mark in the water there. I'm glad it's there. I can show you what to do about that. You put a dead tree in, and then there's an excuse to have the mark there. And then with every colour you can think of on my knife, we'll sculpture in the background bank there. Just push it on, and we can fix it up. Whatever happens here, we can change it. But the idea is to get it on there and then change it into what you want to. Just a little bit more colour about there. And of course our darks underneath. You'll notice I don't use many colours. I always work with a limited palette. I find rather than use a brown, I'd rather mix my red and blue together, or my crimson and my blue together, with a bit of raw sienna, and use those colours all the way through the painting. A few brights here and there on the rocks. Now if you want to put your rocks in exactly where you want them, go ahead and put them where you want them. But otherwise, just dab them on. Just make sure also that they're not exactly the same distance apart, and they're not all round, or they're not all square, that they're all higgly-piggly different shapes. Over here I imagine the bank would be a lot bigger. So clean my knife and put on quite a big bank here. Something like that. That went rather red, rather crimson. I'll come back with some blue over the top. My paint's thick today. When I work in oil paints, I always have to thin all my paints. But when I work in acrylics, only sometimes I need to thin the paints. Sometimes I need to thin the white to get it to come off onto the sky. Oil paints always need thinning. Now with a mixture of just white and warm yellow, let's get a nice golden blaze happening back here on the grass. Then we'll come back with our fan brush, and we'll turn it into grass with a fan brush. I'll put a bit of raw colour there. Nearly always in a landscape it's a good idea to have a white line about in that area there, which attracts your eye to the flat ground and attracts your eye back into the picture. That looks like a big white line from here because we're up close, but when we move away it won't be so noticeable. You see how it pulls your eye back into the distance? Just could do a bit of bright and dark on it. Bring it forward of the background. And I know along the Brunswick River someone planted quite a lot of these palms like this. What are they? So you can put those in if you wish. You can put this type of tree in here. Norfolk Island palms. Yeah, there's a few of them. You can always put them in if you wish. I'm not going to go too much detail with that, but if you want to put them in like that. Of course, the reflection will come into the water like that. And a bit of light and dark on your little brush. You have the centre of the palm, something like that. Fix up our reflections. We'll have a bit of a shadow underneath it. There. That's our palm. I know there's a few down along the river, and while we're up close here I'll put the white lines underneath the bank here, horizontal, very horizontal. Clean your knife every time before you pick the white paint up. And any mistakes on your painting, run over them with the white line and they become forgiven when you put the white line over them. Come down at an angle, but the white lines are horizontal. Don't stop your white lines on a reflection where it starts and stops. Make sure they carry on the reflection. Regardless of what's there, the white line goes over the top of the lot. Always have a dark line under the bank. And a white line under the dark line. And a few white lines here and there. Just make it look like ripples. Then we tidy our grass up everywhere. You can put little flowers or whatever you wish in there. I really like these little blue and white tones of flowers. Like that. In the bank. You can cover over any mistakes with these. Oh, that's a bit too much. Looking back, that's okay. Then a few here. Now that's the background finished. This is the soil colour I'm putting in here. It's crimson. That's okay. And comes up quite high there. And I'll put some blue over the crimson to give us a grey tone. And fill in all this with whatever you got on your palette, just your dark colours. Don't put any white in here. Crimson, blue, that dark green, we can put some of that in there and fill in the corner of the board. And then over the top, lightly run some yellow. That's warm yellow. And keep your brush strokes in this direction, in the direction we're going. Unload your brush there, and before it dries, turn it into grass. Now we're going to work over this again, but at this stage, just get it to this point so it's filled in and we've got something to work with. Put the grass on like that. And all this will be finished off when we do our trees. Bit more yellow over the top. And I'm using my little house painting brush now. Even that can be used to turn it into grass. So that's our background finished.